this is YQ from Tarot Singapore Online, and today we're talking about the mistakes to avoid when you're just starting out learning tarot. Welcome back! Hi, I'm YQ from Tarot Singapore Online, and today we're talking about mistakes you should avoid when you're just starting out learning tarot. Compared to reading tarot, I love teaching tarot a lot more because I find that students who come to me to learn tarot are very hardworking and then they're very excited about picking up this new skill. But I've seen some patterns across the board, so I just want to share with you what are the mistakes that I've seen so that you can avoid it and have a smoother learning journey when you're doing tarot. Mistake number 1. I must get a tarot deck with a guidebook. So this is a mistake that isn't really from a student, but it was from someone who was thinking of buying tarot cards from me. So later she asked me, okay, I sell a Rider-Waite deck, but she also found another deck in the bookstore which came with a guidebook. And when she asked me, is it better if she bought the deck with a guidebook or the deck without a guidebook? And I was really honest with her. It's much easier for you to find meanings on the internet versus carrying a book around. You might as well just get a regular deck. And also because I want to sell my deck. She came back with a lot of other questions, and from her questions I could tell that she wanted me to say yes, get the guidebook and the tarot cards. A lot of people, they want to hear what they want to hear, and even though I was telling her that no, it's okay if you don't get the one with the guidebook, especially since that particular tarot deck has been known to be really ugly. I mean, the color is just bad, and then the quality of the card is bad. I told her all about it, but she kept on insisting on asking me, whether it's better to buy it with the guide. So in the end, I told her, I could tell that you want to buy the one with the guidebook. It's okay to go with whatever you want. Even though I really wanted to help her, she already had a fixed idea in mind that having a deck with a guidebook is crucial for her learning. And I would say no, because a guidebook is just a guidebook. I'd rather, if you want a lot more information, you can find them on the internet. And of course, how often would you be bringing a guidebook out to study? So if you're thinking of buying a deck, you do not have to get a deck that comes with a guidebook. You can just get a regular deck and get all the meanings off the internet, even just checking one meaning a day on the internet. And slowly you will pick up the skills. Another mistake I see people make is that they trust the guidebook too much. I admit that happened to me as well when I was on my tarot learning journey. I had this book that came with a really adorable deck. And the problem with having a book is that I actually did not care about learning about the meanings. Instead, what I did was every time I did a reading, I would reach over, grab the book, and read it off the book. That is a big problem because I wasn't being responsible or being proactive in learning the meanings. Instead, I relied so much on the book. Sometimes when I crack open the book, it doesn't even make sense. I would read it out and I'll tell people, maybe it's just a fluke this time, if it doesn't really apply, but yeah, you know what, we'll just leave it. And the problem with that is that you are giving away your power when you're doing the reading. As a tarot reader, what is most important is your intuition and your ability to interpret the cards based on the situation, not based on whatever you can read off a book, because that is really dangerous and that would actually stunt your learning. So I would advise you, if you are starting out learning tarot, it is good to have a book, but don't rely on it too much. And similar to that, another problem that I see happening is that people think that they must memorize every keyword and every meaning. This is not good, especially when you look at a card and you're stumped because you can't remember the meanings and then you just go blank and then you panic. The truth is, sometimes when I'm reading, a card doesn't make sense to me neither. When I look at it, my mind goes blank and then they're just like, I don't know what this card is doing here. I cannot tell what it is. And I've learned to accept that and maybe pull out 2 or 3 more cards to kind of explain what that question mark card was. So if you're learning tarot, it's okay to try and remember the keywords, but it is also okay if you can't remember a keyword during a reading. What you need to do is actually just start describing what's happening in the card, and slowly your intuition will kick in and then you will actually be able to apply the meaning of the card to the situation. And another mistake you should avoid when you're learning tarot is that one card only has one meaning. No, that is not the case. A card has multiple meanings, multiple keywords surrounding it, and multiple ways of looking at it. So this usually happens when I'm giving a reading to other people. So people who have not learned tarot, and when I explain what the cards mean to them, they will come back to me and say, you know what? The internet said it should mean this instead. And frankly, there are so many ways of looking at the tarot card. It's okay for you to say it should be that, but as a reader, I have taken in your question. I have looked at the cards to like intuitively read what is happening in the scenario. And if you are someone who is just like fixated on, this card has this meaning and it's not gonna budge, it's not gonna be helpful for you because you are not learning what you might need to learn. Instead, you are stuck on what you think something is and you would not move on from it. In the end, I want you to trust your own intuition and go with it versus trying to cram everything in your head, versus trying to reach for the book all the time, or even trying to find the perfect guidebook that comes along with a deck. Okay, I want you to just get started on your tarot learning journey. Get a deck. I recommend the Smith-Waite Tarot Deck Centennial version because I think it's really pretty, or you can get other Rider-Waite decks as well, because those are the more common decks that people explain online. So which means that when you're doing readings, it's easier for you to check. You don't have to have a book. You can just go online and check about the meanings if you need it. I hope you have a wonderful tarot learning journey. Let me know in the comments if you have learned tarot. Tell me what mistakes you have made so that everyone else can learn from it as well. I'm YQ from Tarot Singapore Online. I will see you next week. Goodbye.